my roots are as a developer. I got out of school, became an assembly language programmer, that will take me, and kind of worked my way through project management and consulting and the rest. But skills and testing, I'm the last guy to talk about skills and testing to you guys. But one of the things I want to broaden, I guess, is the definition of testing. And one of the things that I see politically or whatever professionally is estimating. Let me just cut to the chase. You're not a professional tester if you're not a pretty damn good estimator. At least for your own work. Or at least for the work at hand for you and your team or your group. I'm not saying you have to be a perfect estimator. No one's ever going to be a perfect estimator. But estimating is kind of low on the sex appeal scale for developers, for testers, for everybody. But it just gets us into hot water over and over and over again. And it sets us up for a definition of failure that should never happen. And I'm 60 years old now, and so I'm getting really crotchety. And I notice it. My kids notice it and everything else. And you know, I just look at my career in software development and in software world, and I really screwed this up. My generation has really screwed this up. We could have figured this out a lot better than we did. So I titled it, "We Need It Before the End of the Year. What's your estimate?" The political question. And of course, you know the answers there. Very simple. My current estimate is end of January. Response from that manager is, "I need you to rework your numbers." Or you say, December, good estimate. Excellent. That's a perfect estimate. And we get caught in this because we're all expected to estimate. Right? And so, first of all, I want to say one thing. Thanks, Dornerworks. I am the Dornerworks sponsored dartboard, or whatever it is. And I want to thank them very much, Grand Rapids Home, for sponsoring me as a keynote. Anyway, I am not a tester. In my old age, I had become a risk management zealot. Tom Martin and I wrote a book called Waltzing with Bears a couple of years ago about managing risk on software projects. And from my point of view, software projects are all about risk uncertainty and the unknown slowly but surely turning into the known. The truth slowly shall truly be revealed, as we like to think about it. And so everything I talk to you about now, I think, is tainted by that risk management viewpoint. Right? So it's into my bones at this point. So for instance, yesterday we got to Grand Rapids, preschool hour in the afternoon. So I did a little test drive to make sure I remembered where this conference center was from our hotel. Just so I knew I'd be here on time and all the rest of it. And I can't stop doing that now. That kind of thing. So I am a risk management zealot. I wear risk management glasses 100% of the time in my life. Here's the thing. Estimating is overwhelmed by expectations. Right? And the expectations are the goals, whatever, the hopes of the project, right? Where an estimate is not a hope. Right? By definition, a good goal is a crummy estimate, and a good estimate is a crummy goal. Right? You know, at the very beginning of a project, you're estimating something, and your mental model is probably one of, if this goes typically the way we expect it, then it should take us N weeks, months, whatever we're talking about. When it goes typically, you're talking about mediocrity. If we perform okay, we can do this. Right? Until I see better, I'm not going to say that we can outperform this. I'm just coming up with an expectation. And estimating gets killed by expectations. And I want to try to talk about that. I want to talk very quickly about skew, precision, cargo overboard. A bunch of years ago, I wrote a short article for Cutter called, "Oh, you mean that oncoming train?" And I basically say, most of us know when we're out of line with the goals and the expectations of the projects, except somehow it never gets through. Right? Time passes, and the big lie just gets bigger. And the world gets quieter. until all hell breaks loose. And now I'm really angry as an old guy. I can't take this feigned surprise of, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I realized the project's 3 months late. I had an epiphany in the shower this morning. I went to bed thinking it was on time. I woke up with the truth revealed. I'm 90 days behind. Bull. Now, how's a project get 90 days late? 1 day at a time. Right? And you know how many people knew it was 90 days late before I had my epiphany? Just about everybody but the kids. Right? Just about anybody with experience. And the Guild, my partners, and I'm out of New York, but we're all around. 6 months sort of book called Adrenaline Junkies and Template Zombies as well. And there's a pattern in there we call Dead Fish. The Dead Fish project is a project that is born with no chance of completely succeeding. And the irony is, people know it right away. And the paradox is, no one says anything about it. It just goes up. The state of the dead fish is in the room from the start. I mean, it's not that you're going to fail. You're going to blow the budget. You're going to blow the schedule. In some way, you're going to let the company down. It's not going to be a perfect. You have no chance at victory, outright victory. Never do. And yet we have these phenomena. Everybody, I see people nodding. You talk about dead fish. People go, I've been on them sometimes. I know exactly what you're talking about. And so the oncoming train is, the image I want you to think about is, you and I are standing on train tracks like in Kansas. The train goes straight out, and we're talking, and you go, can you hear a train coming? And I say, I can't hear much. Too many years with headphones of Jimi Hendrix. I say, well, you ever seen the movies that they put their ear down to feel the vibration of the rail? I said, I'm getting that. So they put our ears down there, and they say, yeah, I feel it. It's a little vibration. And then I say, what if it's a passenger train or a freight train? How many cars does it have? And then maybe I say, you know what? I know about locomotion. Let me give you a short history of locomotion. We'll talk about the steam engine, and you're on one rail, I'm on the other, and we discuss trains until we're flapping. and all we had to do was step one way or the other, let the train go by, and then we could continue the process. And yet, our projects stand on the rails, discussing the history of software development until they're flat projects. And it just is amazing. So let me talk a little bit about things that I see that make me angry. Here's just a very simple line, right? Actual duration versus estimated duration for a project, a software project. Scale it to any degree you want. I've been working with Tom DeMarco for years, and this is kind of screwed up, but very typical data from some measurements we did years ago. I think is true today as it was then. If you look at real projects where their estimated duration and their actual duration, at any given point when you ask them for an estimate, you get stuff like this. Years ago, I went to an interesting university. Had a great tradition was you could invite a friend to come to a class you liked. If it was a lecture class, not a seminar. And the tradition was, if they did come with you, you went up to the professor beforehand and said, this is my friend Joe, and I invited him to the class. Is that okay with you, Professor? And the professor would always say yes, because it was a sign that you liked him. And there was a professor at my university who taught statistics who was unbelievable. The guy could explain anything to anybody. He'd figure out a way to explain it to you. He was really elderly. He always wore a tweed sport coat, and you couldn't get into his lectures because every kid who got into the class always took one kid as well. So the place would be double the population. He gave the course like once every 4 quarters or something like that, every 4 semesters. And I took this course. It was a wonderful course. And I remember one time he showed basically a graph like this, and he went, ladies and gentlemen, skew. And we stood there for a second. And I said, look at the distribution. He said, squint, just squint for me and put the best fit straight line through there. And you discover there's a bias toward underestimating. We see it all the time. Right? My dad's a retired mathematician. And sometimes when I was writing serious papers, I'd have him look at the data and stuff like that. And he was looking at actually some of the real data of this, and I showed it to him because we were about to hand in a referee paper, and I didn't want to be made a dunce of by the readers. And so I said, Dad, I want you to look at this. Is there anything another way I could have shown the data another way? And he's looking at it. It's all estimates versus actuals for real projects of reasonable size. You know, we had a lot of projects, of real projects, lots of different organizations. And he's looking at it and he's going, they're all late. They all came in later than they originally thought. I said, right. He said, all of them. I said, Dad, in our business, that's not quite true. I said, in our business, they're late by time, or they could be late by functionality. That is, they come in on time, but with less cargo, as I like to call it, than they originally promised, or some combination of what they're in, right? Or every once in a while, there'll be one that comes in on time. And my father looked at me and said, but there's another possibility. And I honestly, God, did not know what he's talking about. And he looked at me, I looked at him, he went, early. And I said, Dad, that's the empty set. You never heard of a project that was estimated 10 months, and at month 7, everybody went, cool. Let's ship. Never heard of those. So something really weird is happening in the SKU. Right? And again, I believe it is that we get overwhelmed because there's good estimating and bad estimating, like the boss has. Right? Make me happy estimating. I promise somebody that we have it up by the end of the year. Make me happy. What's your estimate? Right? Only in the software world, I've been in it all my life, so I don't know. But it may happen elsewhere. Do you have estimating not being most likely outcome? I think that's what most people think of an estimate. So a good estimate is a best guess, educated guess at a most likely outcome. Whether that is good news or bad news is irrelevant. You're trying to predict the future. What are the chances we're going to have thunder showers this afternoon? We all want it to be a lovely day, but I don't think anybody's going to say zero. That there's no chance, given it's a little muggy out there and it's already 80 degrees or whatever. And it's not up to the weatherman to say, oh, I'm really hoping for a sunny day. I mean, those people on TV aren't weather people. They're not meteorologists, just so we know. So there's this horrible box. I don't know if I can, but the precision is awesome. And so now that I'm an arrogant old fart, I do this. People say, we need delivery by Wednesday, October 31st. And I say, what time? The precision is a joke. People will come up with dates. People want to say to people, did you ever take high school math? You can't talk at that level. The accuracy is nowhere near the level of precision you're asking for. I can be incredibly precise and wrong. And it's just a fraud. Again, my dad, who's the mathematician, he's looking at the data, and he's looking at this stuff, and he's going, these people estimated 126 work months to be delivered in 11.75 calendar months. I said, yes, that was their first estimate at this point in the project. And he says, but then it turned out it was 215 actual work months spent. And it took 15 calendar months to deliver. He said, yeah, that's how you read the data, Dad. That's right. That's how the actual. He's looking at the data. It's great. Mathematicians are very funny people when they don't mean to be. Dad looks at him and he goes, these people have no right to estimate anything finer grained than the season. You look at the data, Dad on the back of a napkin, he's right. Absolutely right. Early on in projects, you can see it where it would kind of be fun, wouldn't it? He'll say, well, we don't know much about this project. We're starting out. So when the leaves start to fall, we might be able to go high. that a lot defy absolute precision and accuracy. Right now, I just heard there's the sea storm is now out in the Caribbean, and I actually saw one of these maps put on the local news. This is from 2003. This is Hurricane Isabel from the Hurricane Center. Right? And it shows some interesting things, right? It says, I'm going the eye of the storm. It's right there, right down today. And it says, given what I do understand, by the way, look at this thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's advisory 38. I assume there were advisories 1 through 37. I assume there's going to be advisories 39 and 40 and 41, etc. And it says, tells you what the location is. The sustained winds are 140 miles an hour. It's really written out there. But its movement is only 8 miles per hour. And they're saying, if you wanted me to put in the best fit line, I'll give you one. And it's that. Right? And it says, the single most likely place it's going to land, hit landfall, is right there at North Carolina. But don't believe that's true. There's so much at play here. It can go anywhere from what's that? Northern Virginia all the way down to mid-South Carolina. So, we've got a bandwidth of, I don't know, what is that? 500 miles? 400 miles? Something like that. And that's what we've got. Stay tuned. We'll send out airplanes. We'll take measurements. We'll come back. We'll tighten up our estimates later on as we get more data. And I just think of our world where somebody says at the beginning of the project, well, the project could take us as little as this. So, we could do this in 50 to 200 weeks. And someone was slapping. You'd say, most likely about 100 weeks, but to be honest, give you really a 90% probability, I got to give you 50 to 200. That's unacceptable. Rework your estimate. 100.000 weeks. That kind of BS. It just drives me nuts. It's just, no, I don't go any better. As we learn, as we understand what we're building and all the complexity of what we're building, we will tighten up. But on day one, we haven't got a clue. So, by the way, Scott and I were talking about hurricanes this morning for some reason. Scott lives in Florida. It was 4 or 5 years ago, they had like 5 hurricanes come through Florida. That's the hurricane season. And there was one that was wonderful. I don't remember the name of it. It came up the Atlantic side, just like that one. It stopped. It had 0 forward velocity for a little while. Yeah, and then it did a whole 360. Went right across Florida. I remember that thinking, I've been on that project. Somebody said something, the whole thing changed. So uncertainties. The way I think as a risk management person, there's 2 kinds of things, right? Uncertainty of journey, uncertainty of destination. Right? Uncertainty of destination is the easy one. We don't know what we're building. We don't know what we're going to be testing. It's not clear exactly what the definition of the product is even now. So, we don't know where we're going. Then the journey side is we may know where we're going, or be pretty darn sure where we're going. We're not sure how to get there. What do we want to do? How do we want to? Are we going to build this in increments? How many increments? What do we have? How do we, as explorers, get the whole team through this thing to the destination? Right? And in projects, for the most part, have a bit of both. Right? There's some people who want to make life very simple. I will call these people anti-intellectuals, who will just say, I know how to do the journey. And they're liars. If we knew how to do the journey, that argument would have stopped decades ago. If anything, you notice now that the conversations about the journey are more and more loud in the public, which I think is wonderful. The agilistas come in and say, this is the one way to cruise across America. I think sometimes it's magnificent. Sometimes I think it's a big lot of overhead for no reason at all. If you know, for instance, if you know your destination, then talking about having many, many tiny little increment steps, you're only really doing that for project control purposes. That's the way I think about it. That is, you want to see measurable, demonstrable progress. And so you become a control freak. You probably add a lot of overhead. Some projects have very few questions about destination. Others are, the whole thing is about destination. So we want to think about the journey in very different ways. The myth of getting back on schedule. Tom and Marco and I were talking about this, and we actually went back and looked at some data, and we called people up a bunch of years ago. As far as we can tell, no project has ever all of a sudden accelerated. You know, where all of a sudden you went, oh, things faster. Oh, well, be smarter now. We're behind schedule, so amp it up. It doesn't work. You know, projects that are late end late. You know, nothing happens. I mean, you know, you can play little card games. We can add a few people here, and it looks like we gained a little ground. But you know and I know, in mid-swing, those people are very marginal, usually, in terms of getting things done. Late projects are always late. Right? Once you slip, the only recover is to throw cargo overboard. Right? It's to claim victory by delivering less at the appointed time. And often the sad thing is, especially as testers, you know this more than I do probably, often that decision is made so late that the cargo overboard saves you marginally. And so you have to throw a lot of cargo overboard to get anything done. We've got a lot of stuff mostly done. You know, it's written, it's been tested to some setup. So, but mostly done in our business, as we all know, means not working. Right? So, I mean, in heaven, you know, in nirvana, you have 100% done, and then some other functionality, 0% done. Right? That kind of thing. And yet, in most organizations, they cut so late, they've got a ton of stuff, they put hour after hour in, it's not going to make that release. And that, to me, is the killer. So, really fast, have you been on this project? I always love this project. I cannot consult on this project anymore. I've seen it so often, I just start laughing. Here's the project. Starts out, the core team assembles. It's the first, second week. The team is so small at this point, they go sit at the cafeteria table together, and they're having lunch, and somebody says magical stuff. This is hairy. They think they're going to get this by the end of the first quarter of 2011. You know, people start to shake their heads. No way. And to a person around that table, they're going, there's no way in the world we can get this done. We're on the project 3 weeks. So somebody says, I'll go talk to the project manager. You know, I'll just talk to him. So up comes one of the team members, and they go to the project manager and say, we're just having lunch. We're not trying to beg out of anything. We're not trying to get anything, but to a person, we are deeply concerned about this deadline. We don't think this is reasonable. I don't think we don't think there's any way we can really actually deliver a good, solid product in that amount of time. The project manager says stuff like, you're absolutely right. The day I knew I was going to be having this project, I started to look at this, and I had deep concerns as well. And I know. And he said, the project manager says, let me go upstairs. Let me go upstairs and talk. I'll come back to you guys and talk. Project manager now goes upstairs, and the project manager says the same things. He says, my team has come to me, even though it's only a couple weeks in. I have concerns as well. They're all very, very concerned about that March 31, 2011 deadline. And now the upstairs guy starts to play the trump card. It's wild. First trump card. Prove to me you can't be done that thing. I can't prove to you. I'm just saying, you know, every one of them already is very worried. He said, look, he said, no. And then he uses one of my favorite names. I know this is an aggressive schedule. Before I die, I want to see a passive schedule. Is anybody in the boss said, it's just barely August. And we're just started. And he says everybody knows already that deadline is looming and difficult to make, but he thinks there's real advantage for you to do it. And he wants us to give us a best shot. Come on, guys. I can't go for a weekend. So now, work. Anytime anybody comes near the project, people are going, we're not making this. Life is not good. We're behind the original schedule already. It depends how stubborn your organization is. Usually, if you're typically stubborn, it's now after Christmas and the end of the year. So you're now in like January time, where somebody finally walks in and says, what have you been smoking? No way you're making March. Not even close. You want a 50-50 plan. Try the 4th of July. and now, all of a sudden, now this is, I usually come in, I'm that guy who says, what have you been smoking? But now I can't go any further because it has to be a horrible charade. They say, okay, we promised a delivery by the end of March. By God, there's going to be a delivery. We're going to have a save the date meeting where somebody gets up at the whiteboard in the conference center and writes core release. Release 0. Right? Then I start laughing and they throw me out. I've been fired from consults, I'll tell you. But, and it's people pretending they have control when they have no control whatsoever. Right? And so all of a sudden they have 3/31/11. Now here's my favorite. What is in the core release? And now the definition of core is a magically turned this project. It means what's done. It's already January. We still have integration and all this other stuff to do. It's whether the speedy folks finish. Right? It's not have nothing to do with value to the customer or whatever. It's speedy stuff. And so you can come up with any kind of frou-frou. If it's done, it's now on that list. And so now there's the 3/31. Then there's probably the Memorial Day release 1. And then there's the 4th of July release 2. Release 2 is supposed to be everything that was for March. And you've been there, and you've got to laugh, or you're going to cry, because you know it's so frustrating. Congratulations, you only had 2 small problems. You delivered less than you could have, and you delivered the wrong stuff. Other than that, you did fine. Right? I mean, it really is there. I mean, if people, let me put it this way, if people had actually exercised their estimation along the way, it would become fundamentally clear to most rational people that if that 3/31 deadline had to be there, then let's make a decision about what functionality is going to be in release 0 way earlier in the game. Right? I mean, it's a very simple strategy that just basically says, look, I want this team to be in a situation when March 31st comes, we can look each other in the eye and say, at least we delivered as much of the valuable functionality as we could. That's the strategy. And notice the verb is deliver, not work done. Right? That it's actually deliverable quality functionality that goes. And yet, by postponing, by not continuously estimating, by hiding behind, oh, it's a due date and we've got to work so hard, no one should notice the lack of progress. Everybody's head down working, and every day we work, we're a little bit later. That kind of phenomenon. So what do we do? On the upside. What do we do? 1, separate goals from estimates. I'm not saying goals are bad. Goals are great. Goals are reaching for the brass ring. These are the things that really matter on this project. But estimates cannot be considered goals. Right? I would like a project to start out with a goal. A goal of March 31st, and the current estimate is mid-May delivery. And that the people don't freak out. It just says, if we're a typical team doing typical work, we're probably delivering in mid-May. We understand the goal is to try to deliver by March. We're going to try to make it by March. But the most likely outcome, I'm sorry, is not that we win the gold medal. Sorry, we're going to be in the middle of the pack. Until I see better performance, that's where we are. And I want to keep them separate all the time. As I argue to everybody, good goals are really crappy estimates and vice versa. And 2, explicitly state the assumptions you've made in your estimates. There was a guy who unfortunately died really young, an Englishman named Paul Rook. And he's a risk management guy that I learned a ton from. He was really an interesting guy. guy, and I was in our London office a bunch of years ago, and I called him up before I came, I emailed him, and he said, oh, I'm giving an IEE talk one evening in London, why don't you come, and then we'll go have a bite to eat afterwards, evening talk. I said, great. I sat in the back of the audience, and it was Q&A, and somebody got up and basically said, why are we such dreadful estimators in our business? And he said, I think we're fine at estimating. And you could see the audience kind of go, whoa, where's this guy from? And he said, no, I think basically we're okay at estimating. What we're dreadful at is absolutely stating all the assumptions that go into those estimates. So that we can say, when any of these assumptions go south, we have the right to re-estimate. We are assuming a test team of 5, and when I get 3, sorry, I have a different number for you. 3 people are going to take a wee bit longer than 5 skilled testers to do this work. Sorry. So you can't sit there and tell me, oh yeah, got to live by end of March, but you're not letting me live up to the assumptions that I make. And the other one is, I don't want to get anybody fired. Make your estimates public and continuous. The way we win this battle, I think, is we estimate when they don't even ask us to estimate. We estimate things they don't even know we're estimating. Things that matter to us. And we make it public. I mean, it's the flip chart paper on the wall in the public space of your project, where you're saying, these are our current estimates. And any time you're not on the best number, you move your number. And whether management likes that or doesn't like it, I think we can start to train people how to live with uncertainty. That they have no advantage with false control early in a project. It doesn't get them into any better place at all. So, how do we do that? The public continuous estimating. This is a public. And finally, never give a single number. I always want to band the numbers. I don't want to have anybody believe it's plus or minus 0. It's going to be 100 weeks and they rate 100.0. When I say, I don't even want to say 100, I say, at best it's going to be 70 weeks. It's most likely to be 100, could be 140. That's my current estimate. And I want to talk about the band. So this metric has been around for ages, and it's my good colleague and compadre, Conda Marco's brainchild. And I love it. It's super simple, and it's a way to score the quality of estimates. And to be able to basically to start talking about credentials of estimates. To say evidence of how good are we at estimating. And if we can't figure that out, then we're never going to finish that. But the EQF model is basically very simple. The vertical is the value estimated, the current value estimated, and the horizontal is a histogram this time. Right? So somebody says, let's take a classic one, whatever. How many days of final testing will it take for this product to be ready to go, to be shipped? Right? So you say, right now, here's today, here's August 3rd, and you say, we believe the most likely thing is 80 work days, or whatever. Right? And now as time marches on, you have one rule. As soon as you think the number you're standing on is not the best number, move to it. So up or down, which way you will go. So for a few days, you're sitting there fine, a week, whatever it is. And now you go, whoop, and you say, it's not 80. I think it's 88 is the most likely outcome. And you sit down for another week or so, and you go, whoop, 95. And now time goes on, a couple of weeks, and you go, not so bad, 90. And now eventually you say, hey, 90, even better, 85. You keep estimating and estimating until you're done. And now, what's this is magic? You always get it right at the end. We're done. We spent 85. What's your estimate? 85. Right? So you converge, right? Now, note the other thing that I find very useful is to annotate whatever you were thinking when you went off the number. What happened that made you go up or down? That kind of thing. Because sometimes you see that as a pattern. Oh, this happens, A tester got poached for 2 weeks to run over there. If it keeps happening, you fold it into your estimate. There are 8 of us working on this. Chances are good we're going to lose a work month because 2 of us are going to go away for 2 weeks for whatever reason. what it is, but it's more likely to happen than not happen. Now notice, what would have been the perfect estimate? The perfect estimate would have been 85. I ask you today, how many work days tested to get it to ready or whatever? You say 85. Every morning I come to you and you say, how are you doing on that 85? I'm changing it. You go, I stand. You stand, and boom, you hit it, right? And now you have a rectangle of the perfect estimate, right? So 85 across the top, and bang, you hit it. You couldn't be any better. You were a crystal ball, right? But now, here you have deviation from perfection, right? And that is the red. You actually started too low, went overestimated, and then you came back down. Overestimating and underestimating, I'm going to penalize equally. No skew on me. Right? And just say, look at the area of deviation, and use the area of deviation as the denominator, the area of perfection as the numerator, and come up with a number. Right? So, for instance, I know this slide is really weird. I tried. Right? The area of perfection is the numerator. The deviation is the denominator. I'm trying to make higher numbers better estimate scores. Right? The higher you score, the better estimator you work. Right? So that block of blue divided by the sum total of the areas of the three pieces of the deviation, we get about 6.5, I'd say. 6.5, you got me? Okay. Now, just to give you a little bit of calibration, Tom and I have been doing this for years. People, it's interesting, all sorts of things. Nobody scores a 10 or can sustain a 10. I've seen higher than that, where the organization can do that. Right? Now think about it. 10 means normalized over the life of whatever time period you're estimating. You're averaging 10% off. Right? Normalized out 10%. Right? And I don't know about you, but there's been that. Is it in your company? Somebody say, we know you don't have a perfect estimating algorithm or whatever, so, give us an estimate within 10%. If you can consistently do that, you can own Tahiti. Nobody does it. Right? And a lot of the people that are 9 estimators, to me, that you know this too, they basically have one software theme, and they're doing n variations of it. It's a very narrow band of the kind of software they're making, so they get very good at that. Right? And as long as they're in that domain, they get better and better. People have very heterogeneous problems to solve, different kinds of projects and things like that, never get up to the 9 pluses. And by the way, all sorts of things pull you back down. New technology will pull you back down, and novelty will pull you back down. Okay? By the way, when we start doing this, the typical score is about 4. When you say to people, track your estimates, score your estimates. Right? Notice a 4 is normalized out. It averages out as 25% off over the life of the project. Now, you know and I know it is not average at all. It's way out and it comes in. I'll show you that. By the way, the all-time worst score of a real project was 1.8. And it looked like this. And this is a totally politicized estimate. You know that one. This is the stairway to hell project. We need it done by December. When will we be done? December. Finally, December comes. We'll be done in January. January comes. February. February comes. March. You know that stairway to hell. And no one, clearly they never really tried to get a high score. The whole notion of estimating here, right, is it's not a matter of we're in the right project point for re-estimating. As soon as I think the number is wrong, I move. By the way, the best estimators I've watched are not better than anybody else at the very beginning. They don't know much at all, but they converge so much faster. They move earlier. They see a trend and they go with it, rather than saying, oh, maybe they'll make it up, or I'm not sure. They seem to be slipping. That kind of stuff. So, here's what realistic estimating looks like. As far as we can tell, that's what it looks like. And you're at the project 10% point. If you go backwards, you're at a factor of 2. I wasn't making that up. You think it's 100 weeks, it's 50 to 200 weeks. It's all you can say. Right? And the interesting thing is, for many projects, you get into the halfway point, and very reasonable tolerance is 10%. Every once in a while you see seismic earthquakes where the project completely changed and you get a really weird thing because all of a sudden somebody appeared and they tripled the requirements or something like that. You get a seismic shake. But this is it, get used to it. Right? I just want to kind of end it and say, we've got to overwhelm you. I think it's the only way to attack this. And the other thing is, I would argue to the testing crowd that you are, it'd be really interesting to be able to say, what do you care about? And forget just scheduling. What are things you could count and see if you could learn to get better at that? Right? Or maybe for a month or two, everybody in the room decides to measure this, and then we just share it. See what happens. I don't want to make it onerous, like we're going to measure something for the next 10 years. Just to see what we can find out about the variations. The only way I think we got a shot at trumping the political nature of all our projects and being able to bring it up, get the conversation with the boss earlier about we're not making March. I want to make March, you want to make March, it's not happening. Let's be reasonable about it. Early on, we got a lot more choices about how we handle March than I tell you this in February. Let's start talking about it now. That it's August. It looks like March is not going to happen. What do you want to do? Let's talk about it. As I always say, there are always two managers on every project. One person has a name, the other one is time. If you let time manage it, then time just removes options. Right? All sorts of choices disappear until basically we're now in the hard place. And it's very, very painful. Okay. That's me. Thank you very much. Let's have at it.